welcome to Steph on Skills, powered by Enginuity. I have got a fellow Northerner in the room with me, Northern lass. This is Kirbi Taylor, who works for a company called Tate, based in Shaky Wakey in Wakefield. I know I'm getting all the Northern references in now. Now, you have got an amazing job. So you work for an engineering company, but it's a company that provides the kit in the entertainment industry. So you're working on all the shows we have seen and been obsessed by. Tell us what it is that your job is.
So my title currently is a controls testing technician for Tate, and this involves me prepping and testing, making sure everything's up to standard with all our controls equipment that has been used for shows and stages in various locations around the world.
So, like, what type of equipment are we talking about?
So we're talking about winches, hoists, various other control equipment that Tate have actually made themselves. A lot of it does come from the factory in Littitz. That's our main headquarters for Tate.
Yeah, and so these winches and things, they actually used though for putting these shows together.
Yeah, so you obviously you won't see them, they'll be behind the scenes, but they'll be operating, for example, a travelator, which is basically like a massive treadmill along the stage. They'll be operating show props, various movements within equipment on the stage floor, for example, ladders or anything like that, really, of various operations.
So, in short, you are the person responsible for making someone like Beyonce zip across the stage, if that's what she's going to do, or Adele come up from the floor, or somebody else, Taylor Swift, fly in on something. It's that type of thing. You're like the engineer behind the scenes. That's what you and your company do.
Yeah, obviously I can't mention specific clients for confidentiality, but yes, we've dealt with various high, very well-known stars around the world.
I love that you're not allowed to tell anyone as well. That's even more glamorous. You're like, yeah. I saw you go into like professional mode then. You were like, okay, she's mentioned some names. I'm just going to say that we may or we may not have worked for them. I can't tell you. But aside, like, forgetting the names of the people, but that's the type of thing. It's like
definitely.
These top performers. It's when we go and see these incredible shows,
Yeah.
you're doing like all the brainy stuff behind the scenes that allows them to be able to pop in and out of stages and everything.
So I'm based in Wakefield. Obviously, I don't travel much to site much, but I work on all the equipment ready for them to be shipped. So I make sure that they're all working to our Tate's own standards. And obviously, Tate set a very high standard in our equipment, so we can provide the best for our clients. So it's just making sure that all equipment meets that standard and it's all working correctly.
Yeah. And then have you been to see shows where you've seen the stuff being used then?
Yeah, I've been to quite a few.
What's that like?
It's a massive accomplishment. Obviously, I've not been there to install it for some other shows, but definitely it does have an impact when you've seen work and time.
Yeah, I
you've
bet
put into...
when something happened, you're like, I'm part of that team that made
definitely,
that happen.
100%.
That's cool. So go on, tell me how you got into it then, because that is a job which obviously exists, but you know, you don't think about it, do you, when you're like watching a show necessarily? You might not think, there's someone who's tested the equipment and done all the kind of controls testing, as you say, on it. So how did you get into it?
So, to be honest, I've not really come from a entertainment background. I was more involved in heavy industry, so I used to work on industrial sites in several locations, and that was more of a maintenance role, whereas obviously the role I'm in now is slightly different. But obviously I got into Tate through the role, and then obviously found the love for the entertainment industry. And like you said, it's not a job that you instantly think of. It's quite reserved in terms of it's not very well known, but if you know about it, it's one of the biggest things in the industry. Do you know what I mean? Tate is used all over the world by various shows. For example, in the West End, it's very heavy on Navigator, which is Tate's own software. So you know, you've got to be in it to understand the recognition that Tate has within the industry. So it is quite an achievement and an accomplishment.
I love that in the West End as well, all the way, because I took a little girl who's 5 to see Starlight Express the other day. I know you can't say anything, but now I'm thinking, I wonder if there's anything in that. So tell me about how you even got into industry then. So what was your route in? Like, what did you do at school, and then what happened?
So my dad was very hands-on, and throughout my whole childhood he was always in his garage, building something, making something, fixing something. So obviously I was around that from a very young age. Then got involved obviously with my dad in the garage and learning stuff, and just found a natural love for it. I just enjoyed doing it. It was easy for me, you know, to love and to understand. And then obviously went into school and did engineering for a GCSE. Then went on thinking this is what I really want to do, and then focused more that in towards my apprenticeship. So I've gone through the apprenticeship route. and I've recently just finished my level 4 HNC apprenticeship.
Brilliant.
So yeah, it's been basically my dad and obviously my granddad being heavily involved
Yeah.
with them when I was a child that got me into it.
And what did because the thing it's really interesting, lots of people get in because of people in their family or someone who inspires them.
Yeah.
So did your friends find it unusual that that's what you wanted to do? Because unfortunately there are still not enough women going into the industry out there. So were any of your mates like thinking that's a bit random?
Yeah, there was definitely quite a lot. Obviously I was the only girl in my GCSE that
Yeah.
did engineering. I was the only girl in the whole school that did it. So it was rare, it was unusual, but
Did it bother you?
No, not at all.
Brilliant.
No, I've always just done my own thing, and
Yeah.
it doesn't bother me at all that I'm doing it. So, yeah, it is different for other people. It is a male-dominated environment. It still is, but obviously it's becoming more popular and it's becoming more the norm to have women in engineering, which obviously is just amazing.
Do you get sick of people asking you about the fact you're a woman in it? Because that's the other thing, is it's like people like me must do your head in when you're like, I'm just doing my job. It doesn't matter if I'm a man or a woman. It's like...
Yeah,
you know.
you sort of do get asked quite a lot of questions, but obviously you don't mind because it shows that people are interested. But yeah, I've had that through basically from starting school, where that's what I wanted to do.
And what about your mates who found it a bit weird that that's what you chose? And like, how do they see your life now with the fact that you're, working on the engineering behind some of the biggest shows in the world?
They think it's amazing. Obviously, that, like I said, you don't really think about the role that I'm doing, but they love it and they wish they'd have done something like that now.
Yeah. And what are they doing? What type of stuff?
Obviously various stuff. So I actually got one friend that is actually a control engineer. So we've got like quite a lot in common.
Competitive.
Very. Yeah. But no,
that.
it's great. I love it.
Yeah.
Obviously, I then got people that were, as a hairdresser, for example, and I've gone into hair and beauty, just because obviously that was quite a big thing when I was at school. Yeah. So a lot have gone into that. But
it's funny, though, you should tell him, right, hairdressers make brilliant engineers as well because of the dexterity of their hands, like being able to do precision. Delicate things. Yeah. Because I met a lady who had been a hairdresser and was now doing the wiring on trains. That's brilliant. Where they manufacture the trains, and she loved it. Yeah. And she was better than all the people who'd been there for years. She just came in, and obviously she'd been used to doing highlights and things like that, so she was dead good at it. Ah. And how do you feel like did you enjoy your course then? Did you love the kind of practical and theory side and the fact it was mixed? And did you feel like you were quite supported on all that?
Yeah, so I love studying. I love being in a classroom and learning a lot, but obviously I missed the practical side when I was at school and learning those principles that you learn from the start. So by doing an apprenticeship, I thought it was the best for me. I as much as I loved being in the classroom, I couldn't just sit in the classroom all day, every day, every week. So it was really nice to have that balance of an apprenticeship, and that's where I just thrived personally.
Yeah. And have you found going into industry easy as well, is that what of the kind of, if there's someone listening to this now and they're thinking, oh, I'd love to do that, what are the challenges and also the kind of the opportunities as well, would you say?
So there obviously are mixed opportunities, but obviously in terms of I would never, I'd do it again. I'd never regret my decision. You do, well, personally I believe I set too high a standard of myself. I feel like I've got to be better than everyone else because I'm a woman. I'm representing women. There's not many of us out there, so I do feel like I put pressure on myself to make sure that I'm setting a good standard and hopefully be a role model for someone younger that's moving into the industry. So in terms of that perspective, it's quite hard, but obviously there are so many supportive people out there. It is becoming, like I said, the norm for women to be in engineering. So it's just natural to move within a company that obviously is so embracing.
That's so true about that. That I've done exactly that in my career as well. I've gone, I think as well, being a northern woman, it's like, right, I'm going to be the best at this because you're going to make a judgment on my accent and things like that, so I'm going to be better than everyone. And I think that actually serves you well. What's your ambition then? What do you want to do next, and where do you see your career going?
So I would like to sort of run my own department in the future and manage a small team.
Run your own business. That's what you're going to be doing.
I like to think I'm very organised and very structural, and I always look for continuous improvements within departments. So by noticing that and being able to improve, and then hopefully then become more of a role model, and like I said, a more valuable asset to Tate. But Tate are always giving out more opportunities, and they're very known for wanting to progress careers which is very nice.
So you're going to manage people as well? Is that what you want to see?
In the hopes, yeah. Obviously, I love talking to people and helping people and obviously training people. So obviously, it is hard to learn engineering. Like, it's not just a simple role. So you've got to lean on others to learn, to gain that knowledge and skills. And I also love doing that for other people, because you recognise you've struggled in the past and then this one person's come along and completely changed how you think about something. And then it's just clicked, you've understood. So being able to provide that for others as well, that's one of my joys.
Yeah, it sounds like you're the type of person who like wants to bring up the next generation of people like you as well. You know,
yeah,
talking about
definitely.
yourself as a role model and training people and stuff.
Yeah.
So, what would you say then to people who are maybe listening and going, "Oh, you know, I don't know what to do with my life," or maybe I want to work in engineering? What would you say to them about why it's good and how they should approach it?
I think they should give it a go, 100%. Like I said, I don't regret my decision. It is hard at times, I'm not going to lie. Like I said, for example, setting too high standards of yourself, or maybe you do feel that you could be doing more, or if you're not doing enough, for example. But I would 100% give it a go. Yeah. And there's so many people that lean on each other to provide that support, to provide that, you know, any help that's required. So that I would suggest doing it, because that shouldn't be a worry in someone's
people
mind.
Will always help you.
Exactly.
It's like a nice
there is
sector.
that comfort there. There is that collaboration between teams. So if someone is worried about that, I would just to try and ignore that and try and push forward, because it is a great career and you learn so much, and obviously massive of opportunities. Engineering's everywhere.
Yeah.
So
what skills do you think someone needs to do your type of job?
Dedication.
Yeah.
And willing to know when you need help. That's a big thing. Obviously, coming from a very heavy industrial site, working on the maintenance roles, you need to get something up and running as quick as you can, because the company's losing money whenever time a machine is down. So it's recognising when you can do it and you can figure it out, or knowing that you need that extra little bit of support and guidance, and just knowing that there's no harm in asking for help. Everyone needs help at some point. Granted, you will need more help from the start, but that's when you build on your knowledge and your portfolio, and that's when you can obviously help them.
And I guess it's things like you must be a really good problem solver. So it's seeing a problem and working out how to try and solve it. That's
and
using a big part of your job.
Definitely, and registering and understanding those fault finding techniques that you can use to help problem solve is a massive game changer as well.
What do there'll be loads of people listening to this who are thinking, I want to nick Kirby for my business. What do employers need to do to get more people like you into their businesses? Like, what attracts you to a certain company? Like, what should they be saying to people like you to try and, apart from saying here's loads of money, what could they do? Because we do have a problem with getting enough people like you into these jobs. So how do we get more of you?
To be honest, when I'm looking for a role, I'd ever look to see if they've got women there. It's just not something that I'm the kind of person that I would crack on and deal with, you know, if I need to. And obviously I've been very successful in the past where I've not had to deal with a problem of such. But I don't look for that in a role. I just see the role and I think, right, they're willing to progress careers. That's what I'm after. Yeah. And I think as long as obviously you go for an interview and you get a feel for the obviously the vibe and the atmosphere and meeting the guys on shop floor, that's how you'll get obviously women in.
So it's about, but not just from a woman perspective though, just generally, how do we get more people like you in? So like, you know, people with the way you think and your attitude and all of that. How do we get more people like you? Is it about making places more friendly, or is it about making them open their doors more so you can go in and see them? Like what and I'm not expecting you to have the answer. It's just if you've got any thoughts on it, it's good to know.
One thing that Tate does is they do a lot of tours around Tate. So obviously a lot of people will see engineering as one thing because they've not had the variety to see various different types of engineering. So by having a company open their doors for tours or for days where you can just go and see what's going on, it's massive, because you think, oh, that's engineering. I actually like the sound of that, because obviously it's everywhere, but it's so unrecognised in terms of it's everywhere in a room. You turn a light on, it's electrics. You know, it's everywhere. So by opening the doors and obviously broadcasting that around on social media, for example, it would definitely help.
Yeah, I've got this thing, right, and I told the boss of the Royal Academy of Engineering that they should do a day, right, where they get everything you use to tell you it's been made by an engineer. So what you could have is like if you're in a supermarket and you go to the freezers to get your fish fingers out or whatever, and then as you open it, it goes, "Did you know I was made by an engineer?" And if like loads of things did that, because then everyone would go online and go, "Hang on a minute, did a fridge talk to you in Sainsbury's the other day?" Or when you're getting on the tube and the tube doors open, rather than just mind the gap, if it said, "Did you know that this was?" Because you're right, like you make a really good point there. There's so much, everything in this room has been engineered.
Yeah.
And even that fake plant, do you know what I mean? And yet we don't show and tell people enough about that, do we?
It's good to have demonstrations as well. So obviously our workshop's fairly open. You can see walking past inside. So you can see winches moving, you can see hoists moving. You've got that visual representation of what engineering is, and you can see it. And that's where obviously the drive to work on that equipment is. You know, if I from a young age saw what Tate could do in the workshop, I'd be 100% there, you know, because it's exciting, it's different, it's unique, you know, it's... Yeah, and that's what we need to do more of. So another part of this is getting young people more interested in the sector and knowing like what you do. And you've been into schools, haven't you, and spoke to them about it. What's that been like? To be honest, it's very inspirational. Obviously, you feel quite proud in yourself in saying what you've achieved and what challenges you may have overcome in your career, and see any young men, women, or you know, to see them all excited and have that passion that I had when I was at school is quite an inspiration. So you can build on that, you know, that communication quite quickly because you have that common interest. So it is exciting. And obviously then I hope that they go away and they have a different look on engineering, or if they were quite shy or nervous at the start, then they're like, you know what, I'm actually going to give it a go. So I absolutely love doing those kind of events because, like I said, you know, they are our future, the younger generation. They're going to want to do what we're doing, and we're going to need to pass on that knowledge. Yeah. Obviously for the...
And remind me, how old are you?
I'm 23.
I love that. You're like younger generation. I'm like sat here 42 and you're 23. You're talking about the younger generation. But I bet you told them who you worked with on the shows, didn't you? I bet you told them who Tate have done stuff for. Yeah. I know you're not going to tell me. Right. Thank you very much, Kirbi. It's been lovely to chat to you. That's it from us on Steph on Skills, powered by Enginuity. Make sure you do follow us, though, however you listen to your podcast, and then that will mean you never miss an episode. And leave a review, too, because then that helps other people to find us. But that's it from us for now. Bye-bye.